Champions Cup's getting underway this weekend, folks. There's some pretty big games on the cards. Unfortunately, there's been a bit of disruption for a few teams based in the URC, the likes of Cardiff and Munster and Scarlets and whatnot. But we've taken a look at the bookies odds, which are just kind of an implied prediction. Take them with a bit of a grain of salt, but we'll see who are the favourites and who are the underdogs for this year's Champions Cup. And you guys can let me know your thoughts on how things are looking. We'll start with the absolute underdogs, 0.3% chance of winning. So essentially paying $251 for every dollar you put in. You'll get your dollar back and $250 more if you bet on Bath to win, or Cardiff, or Glasgow, or Connacht, or Ospreys, or Scarlets. So essentially all the Welsh teams plus Bath, Glasgow, and Connacht. So there you go. Absolute underdogs. Those guys, remember, Scarlets have... they're not even on the camera. Scarlets have withdrawn from their first game because they're one of the teams who have been affected by the lack of available players due to the travel to South Africa. So, none of those teams predicted to do all that well. Guy next door has been cutting wood for ages. I don't know if you can hear that. Next up is the teams who are at 0.8% chance to win the whole competition, paying $101. We are looking at, from the Premiership, Wasps, who are on a bit of a bad run. Northampton, who are actually on a bit of a good run in the Premiership, and then Castres. I haven't been following the top 14 at all, but I know that Castres haven't been in the Champions Cup for a few years, so it's good to see them back in things. I should say, of the teams at 0.3%, none of them are doing that flash in the URC, and Bath are obviously winless in the Premiership, so not exactly setting the world alight. At best, I think kind of 50-50 records, or just slightly better. But yeah. Next, 1.2% is just the one team, paying $67, and it's last year's Challenge Cup winner. It's Montpellier. So they've had the experience of winning a European final, but not the Champions Cup in the last year. So does that give them any bit of an extra chance? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but they are not ranked particularly highly by the bookies. 1.6%, so not getting a whole heck of a lot higher, but paying $51 are Ulster, Stade Francais, and Sale Sharks. So you got one URC, one top 14, and one Premiership team there. I will say, I think Stade Francais are mid-table in the top 14. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But Ulster have been in cracking form in the URC. Absolutely. They had a bit of a disappointing result last week, but they've been really good. I think their injury list's getting a wee bit long. And Sale, not been their best season in the Premiership thus far. So Ulster maybe a little bit underrated there, but as I said, the injury list is starting to get a bit hairy. Next, just the one team paying $26, 3% chance of getting the job done, is Bristol. And Bristol have been pretty poor in the Premiership this year. I've actually been watching the Premiership games, keeping on the results week in, week out. Bristol have been legit pretty bad. So it surprises me that their odds are as high as they are. Maybe people are putting money on them based on their performances in the Premiership last year, or the fact that they've got the likes of Pietau and Randrandra, who is just back from injury. Maybe they can do a job this competition instead of the Premiership, but on face value it doesn't seem as likely. But anyway, there you go. Bristol. Then we got two teams at $21, so 3.8%, and it's Munster, who are one of the teams also affected by having a lack of players at the moment. And last year's Premiership champions, or last season, Harlequins. So, two teams who are kind of beefier in terms of reputation. Quins have been a bit inconsistent in the Premiership. They're a very fun team to watch. And as I said, Munster, they're doing really well in the URC, but they haven't had a game for a couple of weeks, and they're going to be without a bunch of players for this opening game. So not kind of ideal prep for them. They would certainly like to have a good run in Europe, I am sure. Right, getting on to the more favoured side of the board. We've got teams paying $17, so 4.6%. The team whose jersey I am wearing, Bordeaux, who did pretty well last year. They were a semi-finalist. Clermont, so one of the other big French teams. And then we also have Leicester Tigers back in the old Champions Cup, unbeaten in the Premiership thus far. They are 9 from 9. They're having a great season in the Premiership. So maybe that kind of boosts their odds. I think they lost the final last year, right, to Montpellier in the Challenge Cup. So yeah, some pretty big name teams. It's good to see Leicester in good form. I know Premiership fans of rival teams maybe not going to agree, but it's it's been good to see them having a good year and being very competitive, just to put it mildly. Next, we've got one team paying $9, and that is Racing 92. I think were they quarterfinalists last year? A little bit disappointing. Kind of always the bridesmaid, in the old Champions Cup, paying $9. I think their top 14 season's been a bit middling so far, so they could certainly use a good run in Europe as well. But from whenever I've watched them, they've been a cracking team to watch. And when you get the likes of Kurtley Beale and Finn Russell in the same team, you're going to have fun times to watch for sure. Then we've got two teams paying $8.50. So at 9.2%, you've got Exeter Chiefs, who won it a couple of seasons ago, and La Rochelle. Remember, La Rochelle lost in the final last year. They got a red card early in the final last year, which was not doing their chances any good, but they've been a pretty bloody good team to watch. So, yeah, them and Exeter both going to be very competitive according to the bookies. Second favourite, and always right up there at 17.4%. So paying $4.50. Not a huge return on your investment if you're putting a few bob on Leinster. They're always going to be there or thereabouts. Semi-finalists last year, hunting down that 5th star. But it wasn't to be because it was these guys, Toulouse, who ended up getting it done last year in the final. Pretty much like a 1 in 5 chance that the team lifting the cup this season is going to be Toulouse, paying $3.75, and I think they are doing pretty well in the top 14 as well. Bordeaux, I think, is first, so I think Toulouse is second. But certainly some big teams gonna go at it. So yeah, you guys will have to let me know your thoughts. Thankfully, here in New Zealand, these games are going to be broadcast, at least some of them, on Sky. So I'm looking forward to watching some of the games this weekend. As I mentioned, Cardiff, Munster, and who was the other one, was going to field a kind of second string team. Scarlets. Oh yeah, Scarlets is the other one who've kind of withdrawn. Zebra as the other team, but they're not in the Champions Cup. So we'll have to see how things go. You guys let me know what you reckon. Do you reckon Toulouse and Leinster are kind of fitting as kind of 1 and 2 favourites? Top ranked Premiership team is Exeter. Obviously there's no Saracens because they were in the Championship last year, but I would say they're probably going to be back for the next edition of the Champions Cup. But yeah, what do you guys reckon? It seems like the French teams overall getting a bit more love, and the URC teams, barring Leinster and maybe Munster, not so much favoured. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.